of all the questions we have in Star Wars, we're never going to know who is going to win the tile game. Everyone, welcome back to another Andor-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And we are back with Andor Season 2, Episode 11, Who Else Knows? And Episode 12, Jedha, Kyber, Urso. What a lame last title for an episode. Like, they could have been way better.
Jedha? Yeah,
Urso. Like,
in my defense, I didn't know that until you just said it.
But I know, because for some reason you don't read titles. We'll ask the people in the chat. Leave comments again. But I can't believe you don't look at the titles. That's like the most exciting thing for me.
I look at time.
You don't got time. You literally read it as you click it. But we've had this debate. Whatever. But yeah, so Andor is done. So go check out our episode 10 breakdown that came up posted this morning, so go check that out. And this is the last two episodes, and Andor is done forever, and the story is complete. Goes right into Rogue One, and then Rogue One goes right into the original trilogy. So huge project. So if you've never watched the original trilogy, you're doing it the best way now. You can just go.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Rogue One, and then episode. You're going to watch Andor, 2 seasons, Rogue One, and then you have to watch that crappy Episode 4, New Hope.
Okay, get out.
You can't tell me that movie is better than anything in this Andor.
100%. What?
No, gosh, just terrible.
Bro, no.
People are going to watch Star Wars for the first time with Andor and Rogue One and think it's so amazing. And then they're going to look at two droids walking around in the desert. Super boring. Nothing happens.
They don't even have the whole... Okay, what... I think I'm on board with you, Jeremiah.
What's that?
The new casting is just dumb.
New casting?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Of Leia's dad.
Oh, I was over it.
Oh, I'm not anymore after the last episode.
I told you that after they introduced it, it's whatever. That's who he is. I was over it. It was weird, but I didn't care anymore.
What else was he doing though? That was more important than Star Wars.
Another project that he's on. He can't leave a project.
In CIS or something.
He can't just leave a project in the middle of a contract. Like, you can't do that. It's like leaving your one job for another job in the middle of your shift. But see, Caleb Bet says, I'm so upset about Bail Organa acting and writing.
Yeah, I agree.
What about the acting and writing makes you upset? Like, you can be upset that there's a new casting.
I think,
but the acting was fine. Like, trying to mimic Jimmy Smith's voice and cadence. Like, he did a pretty good job. And the writing, that's now. One argument is that maybe you didn't need Bail Organa, really, but you knew that Bail was the 1-2 punch with Mon Mothma in the Senate. So, you had to have him in there at least some degree. But, this arc on Yavin, he wasn't necessarily needed. But it's still important for the overall story. You need his presence there. And the thing is, so I edited the breakdown last night this morning before I watched the episodes. And I go on YouTube to upload the video, and I literally get spoiled with two thumbnails from other videos that are right on top. The first line, two videos. One, the last ending with Bix. That was the whole screenshot.
Wow, that's messed up.
And then the second one wasn't a spoiler.
So dumb.
It wasn't a spoiler because it didn't end up being true, but it was a thumbnail was Bail Organa hugging Clea, and it was entitled Bail Organa dies on Alderaan from his perspective or something. It's we see him die.
That would have been fire.
And I would have got spoiled for that. Good thing that didn't happen. But people on their thumbnails always like I was
Okay,
avoiding
that one
things.
was that one's awful.
But like that one, it could have also been fake. I was like, okay, you know, you just take a because she was just standing there in the middle of a field and then a baby on the chest. Like someone could have just quick Photoshop that to like whatever, but whatever. It is what it is. But that's everything. I don't really have any other really things other than if we can just jump into overall thoughts of how it ended. Drew, you overall happy, disappointed? That was okay. Where are you at?
I thought it was okay.
And why is that?
I just I thought the second episode was like just underwhelming and kind of unnecessary. Like I don't know. Like I was just
Second
like, well,
episode was
both. Honestly, I watched them back to back, so they kind of all run together for me. But like I don't know. Like the heist thing was cool and super intense to get her off there, but like I wanted more. I don't know.
more of what?
Everything. I don't know. Make it up. I wanted something.
Make it up. Of course,
What?
it's already made up. It's a story. It's not. It's not
Like
a.
I don't know. Like the whole ending episode was kind of underwhelming. I feel like you feel the same.
No, no. I'm trying to understand. Like, in what way? Like, why was it underwhelming?
Because like I felt like it was already one of the shortest ones throughout
Well, the
the
second
season.
episode was 44 minutes, and then the third episode was 48 minutes. So it's still pretty. The last one is still pretty close to
Yeah,
the 50-minute
but I felt like
average.
it honestly they could have done it in 20.
The last episode in 20
Yeah,
minutes.
because pretty much all that really happened was Cassian telling them what happened, them debating if they're gonna believe him, and then they decide to believe him, and then he gets sent off on the mission. And then the cool montage at the end was probably the coolest thing of the whole episode. It was like showing all the characters and their positions and homegirls in prison. I though another thing to that, like why did that guy kill himself?
Because he was getting arrested
For
because Dedra was his
because
protege, and he was the only other person that knew about the Death Star. And because that guy came in and was like, "All right, they're waiting for you downstairs or whatever,"
mhm.
and
No, I get
he
that. I was just like, why though is he getting arrested? Because like, what did he do wrong? He didn't tell her to go
because
do that.
yeah, but they don't know that it's the Empire.
Oh,
What did Dedra do? She didn't do
and
anything, and she got arrested and put in prison.
what she did though, she went over the guy's back and tried to.
That's not why she was arrested. She was arrested because of the leaked information that Young got her information when leaked information, and like
Mm,
she like took some intel that like she says that like she didn't like report, but like that wasn't necessarily like
the reasoning.
a huge like illegal thing, but like you just blamed for the people underneath you failing, and so Paragraz was at fault because Dedra and then Young and the Hertz guy, Heitz
Hmm.
or whatever how you say it, like they're all under him and they all failed, and so he's responsible ultimately. So he was going to be taken down to be interrogated and whatever, and he's like, "Well, I know what's going to happen. I've been doing ISB my like for the past
Yeah,
19 years probably. I know what they're going to do to me, and I'm an old guy. Like,
screw that.
yeah."
And he was like listening to the.
That's the thing. I don't know how he got the recording of Nemec's manifesto.
I don't know,
I have no idea because Nemec recorded it, gave it to Vel, and Vel gave it to Cassian.
but did Cassian
Unless it
they
was
like pushed it out on to everyone?
no, There's nothing in the show that they did that. The only thing I can think of is that Cassian gave it to Luthen, and they found it in the gallery.
Ooh,
But like when the guy came in, the bald guy came in, he was like, "You've heard this before, right?" Like bits and parts, like implying that they've had it for
a while.
a while.
Mm.
So I don't understand really, but
He like almost believed it.
I think he understood the end was near, that the rebellion was unstoppable at this point.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, this is the end. But other than that, so what else? Did you have any other final thoughts on why you were disappointed?
I just thought it was just underwhelming. I liked like after watching like the sequence and all that stuff. I went and watched Rogue One, like the beginning of it. Just pretty much like I just went to the scene when Cassian was dealing with a guy
Yeah.
in the beginning of Rogue One, and that tied in so well that like even the wording, like how they're communicating, because at that point he still didn't know it was a Death Star. He just knew it was a big weapon, and then he said, "What weapon?" And the guy said, "A planet killer." And then we got to get out of here. Like it worked so well. So like that was cool. It did like flow better into Rogue One. So I highly recommend people to do that part. Like just go and watch that first scene with Cassian because it really does just like relay perfectly. So that was pretty cool. But I don't know. Besides that, I just felt like we're seeing things that we didn't necessarily need to see, and there wasn't as much action as I wanted it to be, and characters like we could have saw a sequence of like Palpatine or something. Like I was kind of disappointed on that, but whatever. It was still really enjoyable. I'm not saying I don't like it. It was just like, oh, okay. Last week's 3 episodes were amazing. So like these 3 episodes were like not the same level of tierness to me, but I don't know. What do you think?
I think I understand what you're saying, but I also think that it had to be kind of slower in order for it to flow into Rogue One. Because,
Yeah.
like, I said for the last episode, episode 10 breakdown, like, I would have liked it to have Luthen die at the end. Like, the last scene is him dead on the table, whether it was there in the hospital or on Yavin or something, of like, he gave his life to the very end to get the information out. But,
Mhm.
like,
But they wouldn't have believed.
but that's, well, that's not my point. My point is that if some big, huge thing happened where third episode Luthen is injured and gets to Yavin and his final words
Oh,
as he
gotcha.
dies, I get that wouldn't flow into what we got in Rogue One, because at Rogue One, Cassian and no one knows exactly what's going on. Like they don't they're trying to investigate. And I think if
Hmm.
Luthen showed up with Clea at the end and then died, they would have been more convinced of it, and there wouldn't have been less. Now, of course, they still wouldn't understand, but they wouldn't be searching for answers the way they are in Rogue One for the first half of that movie. So I think it was necessary for it to, be a little bit slower. Like it was kind of like at the very end, like you said, like the montage, like it went from like every like person and group of like couple or whatever, like boom, boom, boom. Was kind of like the last 10 minutes was that is just kind of like a montage of reflecting on these characters and where they're at.
Yeah.
But like you needed a slow burn because it fits better with flowing into Rogue One. I think if you people probably watched episode 12 and then immediately watched Rogue One, and they would have had a seamless flow and there wouldn't have been like any like problem with it. But like if
Yeah.
how long after you watched episode 3 did you watch the beginning of Rogue One
Like
or
right
episode
away.
12 right away? Cause
Yeah.
I was gonna watch it, and then I was like, I gotta watch all these episodes again and do notes and stuff, and I gotta do laundry. It's laundry day.
Oh, really?
So I probably won't get to it till like this weekend or something. But
Yeah, I would go back and just watch that montage and then go into it. But you got to skip like the Jin and Urso stuff in the beginning because that
you don't
doesn't
want
really.
to skip it because that's part of the story.
Yeah,
So
but
you
you
got it.
know, I was just really looking like to try to fulfill the flow of Cassian, seeing him, and like even the way they cut his hair and like everything, his outfit was like all the same. So that was
Right.
cool too. So
I'm
yeah,
more curious about like the stuff on Jeddah with Saw Gerrera. Like I want to see
yeah, I didn't get that
that,
far. I should
especially
have
because
kept
we see
going.
that's argument between him and Mon Mothma on the Hollow Call. Like
Hmm.
it'd be cool to see that again. But
And I thought that was really cool about the sequence too, like seeing him on Jeddah.
just standing there looking out the window
Yeah,
with the Star Destroyer in Jeddah City. Oh, Bodum says that I almost stood up and clapped when I saw uh, Miro in the ending montage. I felt. Did you feel bad for Dedra?
yeah,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
yeah.
I felt bad for her. Whatever. I know she's a space Nazi, but like, I don't know. My whole thing about Star Wars, I've said a million times. Everybody is a victim of the Empire, and so was her. So
So like when the lights came off and she was still sitting, my question is, was she gonna get shocked?
why?
Because wasn't her feet not supposed to be on the ground when the
On the
lights turn off?
hallway,
Oh, in the hallway.
but she was in her cell.
Oh, yeah,
Remember,
that's
like
true.
people like that one scene in season one where Cassian's just standing there, and then like he has 7 seconds. He's just standing there talking, and like literally half a second before he steps up onto his in his
Hmm.
cubby, and everyone's like, we know you don't die, but like still,
But
like
still, calm down. Get in your.
I wouldn't even once I get in that hallway, I go straight to my thing. I wouldn't wait for the little like 5 minute like party time, free time. I would just go straight to my thing and be like, I'm giving myself all the wiggle room I got.
Just in case someone switches it on early.
Right,
Jeremiah's like, no.
I'm good, but
Yeah. I didn't really feel that bad for her, personally. But that's just me.
but yeah. So we might as well just jump into episode 11. Who else knows? And dead stormtrooper on the ground outside, and Hertz goes up and basically says, "This is all Dedra Miro's fault. This was her security team. She was here. She planned this. She it's her fault that all this went to crap, and put the blame on her, not me." Um, and then he's like talking to like whatever person there. And he's like, "What information do we got?" And like, we think there were 3 people that broke into the hospital and did all of this, which is just one. I want to know like why they think 3 people, but like it's kind of funny that it was just
It
one
was
lady
so well
pretending to be a
done.
nurse. And I'll say these last 2 episodes, especially like this whole season, but these last 2 episodes, Clea, so Elizabeth Dulau or something like that. She was so good in these last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, man, I thought who could be better than Mon Mothma and like Genevieve O'Reilly, but man, she was really good. I couldn't believe how good she was. And like I was like, she's not wasn't in any interviews or any like promos or anything.
Yeah.
Like dang, like
Well, because last season her character wasn't
right.
this. So I feel like they brought her on. People were like, what is she, like, why is she here?
I don't know.
She's going to do a lot of post stuff now that it's all wrapped. She's
Maybe.
going to
But when
be
all the show is done, like what else is there again? Are they really gonna
Comic
do any more?
Cons,
I don't know.
autographing.
I feel like I don't know, like who would go to like Comic Cons? Like I think Diego Luna and Adria, who plays Bix, maybe, but
Oh, pigs.
I don't think any other characters would go. They just don't seem like they're con people or whatever, but who knows? It'd be cool to meet the whole cast, but
I feel like they
um,
would go to Comic Con and stuff just to make money.
I think they're all doing pretty good. I don't know if they're struggling. I feel like people that do cons a lot of times are like, sure they have like the big people like show up to the like Star Wars Celebration, but like Comic Cons and stuff, it's usually like side characters that go
But
because they
we
don't get as
had
much money.
yes and no. Like we had Hayden come to ours
Yeah, but
in the middle of Minneapolis. Like
you got to understand that he's not like a big time like Hollywood actor. He just does very select small things. He's not making millions and millions and millions of dollars every summer on blockbusters like some of these other actors are.
yeah,
Like
but
Adria, she's like more and more. I feel like she's been growing in her career a little bit, getting more involved, dating Jason Momoa. Like she's a big deal. So, but who knows? We'll see. But anyway, back at the hospital, Hertz is talking just to whatever about don't touch Luthen's body, blah blah blah, and you hear commotion, and the medical director of the hospital is like all upset, and this is my hospital. I determine who can come and go, blah 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 blah. Arrest them, and whoa, I'm sorry, okay, I don't want to get arrested. I'll shut down the hospital. Um, and I should make a note. I saw a video. I don't know how. I didn't fact check it or anything, but last episode, when it pans up to the hospital and you see the name with like the medical logo on it,
yeah,
the name of the hospital is Lena So Hospital. So the chancellor from the High Republic books. So,
bruh, that's
like
cool.
people like name hospitals and libraries and stuff after
Mm-hmm.
presidents and politicians and stuff. So the Lena So Hospital is kind of cool. So I wonder, is that like the last book is coming out next month? Like she's on her
She's gonna
deathbed. She's like, name a hospital after me, and then like that's like her final wishes. It'd be kind of funny, but
kind of funny, Jeremiah said.
it would be funny that that's why they had to name the hospital this, because
She almost died.
someone in the book wrote, the author of the book writes that in. It's like, well, continuity. Um, but the next scene was a pretty intense scene. Dedra Miro is in holding at the ISB. The same, I'm assuming it's the same exact room that Cyril Karn was in last season when they brought him in, and
Mm-hmm.
she interrogated him. And so she's sitting there, and I don't know if you noticed this episode, but this episode in that scene, and then last episode when she's in the gallery, she's breathing through her nose so loud. Did you notice that?
Mm-mm.
You can hear her like breathing through her nose, like the only sound that's going at the time. It was kind of. I don't know why they chose to do that, because that's a very obvious sound. Like if you're recording and you hear someone breathing.
Well, you have a good sound system because I didn't even hear it.
Oh, dude, my sound system's like 18 years old or something like that. It's super old.
Granted, mine was very quiet because Miles was sleeping when I watched them. He was napping, so
Fun,
I had the subtitles on for most of it.
exciting. But director Krennic comes in and yells at her basically the whole time, and he's basically like, "Who else knows? Who else knows about?" And she's like, "Oh, about who? About about Young? What do you mean?" And like, why would I come to this piece of crap facility to talk about a ISB agent that got killed? Like, why would it be? No, there's only one thing that would bring me here. And she's like, the Death Star. And so, like, this, I understand why they did it. Like, I was hoping she would have said Stardust, but like, you can't do that because Project Stardust was like the reveal at the end when they're trying to steal the plans, when they're in that, like,
Yeah.
where they got the blockbuster VHS tapes library thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's like that's the reveal. Like she's called Stardust, like at the beginning of the movie by her father. So it's like if the writers are assuming that people haven't watched Rogue One at points, like they're gonna only watch this and then watch Rogue One. They didn't want to spoil the reveal, so they had to go with the Death Star, which was interesting that they had to do that, but it's whatever. But that's the first time we get that
That word.
detail spoken. And so Crank just kind of lays into her. They argue, and she's like, I don't know what I did wrong. Like, what's the big deal? And then reveals that young, stole her code certification and was reading her stuff for the past year. And she's like, well, I didn't have anything to do. I didn't know that. How am I at fault? And then she's like, well, I also had intel that came to my desk that was accidentally delivered to me, and I never passed it on to the right thing. I just took the information and read some of it, but not all of it. And we learned something interesting. It was kind of a little confusing. I had to go back and listen to it, and I maybe still misunderstood it. But I think she said Luthen went to Jeddah, and the person that he sold something to was caught by ISB, and then gave the description of antiques being sold from a guy with the Fondor or whatever the ship is. And so then that was like an access detail. So then that's like why she was interested in like the access stuff again when she wasn't even on the thing. So like, because the whole Jeddah project is kyber crystals, which was part of the Project Stardust. So it's like that's why it kind of like overlapped randomly.
Yeah.
And so she kind of went back into the access rabbit trail, and that's how she got doing that again. So Krennic was obviously not happy about this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And to try and save her butt, she's like, oh, well, if you want to find some more information, find Clea. We think it's his daughter. We don't know, but I think it's his daughter. And she would know everything. Luthen would have told her everything. So go find her. And then a guy comes in and just says, like, hey, we need to talk or something. So, and then the way like she starts to like say another thing, and she's standing up, and he like grabs her head and like sits her down and like walks away. Like it's a very awkward, like, no, not the finger thing. When she grabbed her head, but with both hands and threw her back down on the chair. Like, I've never seen that kind of like move on a person before. You just like grab their head and like force them down into a chair. I've never seen that. It's kind of a weird thing, but I guess it's a power move, and so it got done. Whatever. So then you see through the glass someone telling him something, and it was definitely them saying Luthen is dead. And then so she saw his reaction, and she realized what happened, that Luthen is dead. And so that was kind of cool. And then it's this in the security surveillance room at the hospital. This weird, awkward guy, like, nerding out about security stuff and talking to Hertz. And they just look at all the camera feeds and find Clea on there. And she's just like dodging cameras, looking away, and going all over the place. And they figured out, oh, it's her. And so they realized then she was alone the whole time. It was just a one-person job. So that's that. And so then we get into this whole thing with Clea. Like, she has to, what does she have to do to get off the planet? What is her plan? She goes back to the hideout. She's banging on a concrete wall, and there's something in there. She pulls it out, and it's like a very, very old school radio, similar to the technology from the gallery. Puts it together and sends out a message via space Morse code with 3 buttons rather than just one, and so it's a little bit more complicated. And so we go to Yavin, and Wilmon, we see him, and he's limping. So in the past year, he got hurt his leg, probably a permanent damage, who knows. Gets back to his little hut with his girlfriend, Drina, and she's like, "What is this I found under your bed?" I'm like, "Oh, what's going on? Like, what'd she find?" And I was like, "It's like a radio," and he just started freaking out, like, "When did this happen? When did this happen?" Blah blah blah, and freaking out. And she's like, "Well, what is it? What is it? Tell me. You better tell me what's going on." "I'll tell you. Just calm down. I gotta figure this out." And so, so she was sending a message to. So the question is, was that given to Cassian and he gave it to Will to like hide for him, or was it given to Will? Because I don't know. It was kind of weird because like Cassian came and she's like, "Oh, of course it was you that would come," but like he wasn't in possession of it. So,
Well, I think maybe they both had their own, and Cassian probably got rid of his.
oh, I don't think that's. I think it was just a one-way radio, like a one radio to the other. I don't think it was a broadcast to multiple devices.
No, it was because remember later on they pick it up in the office.
Yeah, but that's because it was on the same frequency. But I'm saying, like, if there was another radio, it would do that. Yes, but there's no evidence that there was two radios on Yavin.
No, but I think I don't think I could see more or less like Cassian have one and he got mad at Luthen and got rid of it.
Rather than giving it to Will.
Yeah, because Will probably has his own. Because Will was more.
But why? Why would Luthen? Luthen doesn't trust. Why would he give one to Will? He's not his number one guy. Like this was a
No, but
last ditch, final emergency contact thing. Like this is the only way, the last thing, like last move that you can do. He's gonna give it to some random kid that.
Will worked with him a lot though.
Yeah, but he has friends everywhere.
That's
There's
what I'm
thousands
saying.
of people throughout the galaxy. You think everyone had that thing?
No, but I feel like I could see more of a scenario where, because at this point Cassian was done with Luthen.
Yeah.
Like they imply that he hasn't seen him in over a year.
Yeah.
So I feel like I could see more of a scenario that Will was still kind of holding on to that part of the past, and maybe he had one, but then Cassian for sure didn't have his anymore.
I just don't understand why Luthen would give it to two people.
I think multiple people had it
Based on what? How would you know that?
because it went off in the whatever it's called.
Because it was connect gets the same technology, but that doesn't mean that someone else has it also.
Well, but they had it in the
Right, because it's the same technology. But that doesn't mean that multiple people have the technology.
I don't know.
I just don't understand. Is this weird that if I'm assuming what happened is because Cassian was done with Luthen, he gave that device to Wilmon
That's
for
that could
safekeeping. Unless
true.
because maybe because Cassian was such high up on in ranking on Yavin that his quarters would be like inspected or something on a regular basis. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just kind of weird that he had it. Because it would have been better if it was like at Cassian's hut and then they're playing that game and then the radio goes off. But because it would have been the same effect. Like it's not like it would have been either way. The game got interrupted by the radio, but either
Yeah,
one.
that's true.
So it's like, why would it have to be Wilmon doing that? But
To show
whatever,
his
we'll never know.
character. I don't know.
But before Wilmon brings the radio to Cassian, there was this amazing scene between K2SO, Cassian, and Melshi, and they're playing like a tile game of some sort.
It's like a tile gambling sabacc
And
thing.
like obviously playing against a droid is very difficult because they can calculate the odds very easily. They know how to count tiles and all that stuff. And K2SO is also like, this is our 864th game or something like that. Like that's a good pool to like understand your style of play and the statistics of the game. I had all the experience built up. And Melshi just does terrible betting, like basically puts all of his money in on a thing, and K2's like, that doesn't make sense at all. There's no way you have this. And then they just started like, are you nervous, K2? I can't get nervous when I'm a droid. Oh, I think you're nervous. And it's just super funny. And
Yeah.
they're just messing with him. And they're drinking alcohol, so space alcohol. So they're a little more loosey goosey with like what they're joking about and stuff. So
I think it was cool too. Like that scene shows that he had like by him saying the number of times they played, this tells you like through this like year he's developed a big relationship with K2, you know.
Right.
So it kind of did that without like having us see more scenes of them working together. Like just them doing that kind of showed that there's a relationship developed with
Right.
him, which is cool. Because we only see one other mission with them together before we see them in Rogue One, and at that point in Rogue One, you feel like they've been friends for years, but it's technically only a year.
Right.
So,
Because like, was it like when they leave the planet? K2's like, we've disobeyed order 17 times,
mhm.
and like, well, now this is 18. So it's like, were these just simply like rules at the base that they broke, or did they go on missions? Like it's because it could have went either way. It seems like at times they haven't gone on any missions in the past year, but
Mhm.
then it's like, how do you have this relationship without going on missions? How do you do like full on disobedience without it being like a meaningful like disobeying of orders? Like if it's not a mission, like I don't know, we'll never know.
Yeah, it's
But
kind of hard to tell. It could go either way. Like they went on 17 missions, or they were gambling
right,
illegally or something. Like it's kind of hard to tell.
um,
But either way, there's a development of a relationship, which is cool.
yep. Um, so then we go back to I don't know. My notes are not the best on this episode, but like it goes to the ISB again, and I think the scene is like it's Krennic, Hertz, or Hietz, whatever I always say it wrong, Hietz, and then Partagrez. They're talking about what to do about Clea because they got the information. She's on hologram in the middle of the room, and Hietz is like, "How do we paint this like public like find this person thing like sedition, murder?" And Krennic is not impressed by his efforts, and Partagrez, she has a disease. She escaped the hospital and she's infectious and she could kill thousands of people if you come in contact with her. That's how you're going to get people to like actually
Look
keep
for
your
her.
eye out, because if you're just, oh, this person is conspiring against the empire, what does that matter to me? Who cares if I see him?
Mm-hmm.
But if you could die, it's going to work. So Krennic is like, there it is. Why are you still here? Go. And it's so super funny. And so that's what they do. Um, and then it goes to this weird scene with the same scene, but like how it ends is with Partagrass talking to Krennic, and Partagrass seems worried and scared. And it's like, I guess this is the first time he's heard the name Death Star, it seems like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's the name we're going with. And he seemed unsettled about that. And
Yeah.
it makes you think like we're going too far with whatever this project is. Like even for him, we've gone too far with this planet killer. And so it's like we don't get a lot of information like what exactly he was thinking. So it's like when it goes to the Nemec thing, when he's listening to that, part of me wants to think that he was being sympathetic to the rebel cause as well as
Yeah.
realizing the rebel
That's
cause
the way I
is
interpret it.
unstoppable.
I interpret it like, oh, maybe he kind of turned in
I
the
think it's like
sense, not turned, but like he realized that maybe he did something wrong,
right. And so it's kind of like a
and
multiple
he couldn't live with that.
right. Um Also he was getting arrested too, and he was gonna get killed probably like or
You don't
put in
want to live with
prison.
that either.
Um so that was just interesting seeing that actor. Like that actor is also great too. Like he was really good in this episode. He's
Mm-hmm.
always been good the whole series. It's like the fear on his face and his worry on his face was just very convincing. And then we go back to Clea. She's like worried, freaking out in the apartment. no response back. So she sends another message. I think and so then they go back to Yavin, back on to Cassian's place, and they're just kind of like, "Well, are you sure it was a real thing? Are you sure it works? Maybe it was just a malfunction. It just made a sound. Blah blah blah." And no, he's like, "No, it works." And then it starts beeping again. And I really liked with K2SO, like immediately he locked onto it, listened to it, and he like interpreted the type of communication it was. He couldn't understand what it was saying, but like his immediate analysis of like the sequencing of the sounds, like he just stated it right off the bat. And he's like, "Well, I can't make any sense of this, but Cassian, it must have been something that you have memorized and know what it is." And he's basically, "All right, we gotta go, Melshi. I need a right hand man. Get your stuff, get your gear. We're going. K2SO is the U wing. Is it ready to go? Is it?" He's like, "Yeah, it's good to go, but we can't go. All right, Willon, you gotta go to the schedule and put it in a test flight or whatever it was." And it's just a scramble to get there. Then also like General Craven and another guy like are like trying to go and like stop them, and they get on the radio. And I really like the guy on the from like the radio room or whatever. It's the same guy from Rogue One who like hears the messages from Scarif and then like runs to tell Mon Mothma. Like the same guy. He has a very distinct note, like profile nose or whatever. For me, I like remembered him right away, and so he's there in the radio room the whole episode. And they're just trying to talk to him like, "You are not authorized to leave. You gotta get back here." Blah blah blah. And they're just like, "Well, no, we're going." And so they just jump to hyperspace and they're gone. Then we go back to Dedra. She's like in like a prison cell now. Hietz comes and gives an update and says, "I need your help. I don't know what to do." And basically like, if you can help me out, it'll help you look better, and maybe it'll get you out, and you won't be punished, type of thing. And so she jumps on that, like how are we gonna track her down? And she just basically, on Ferrix, we recovered an old type of radio technology. Looking at that, she's gonna be communicating through that, not on normal things. I got it. And so he goes and gets that done. Wilmon just tells people on Yavin that he's going to Coruscant for some reason, but doesn't really give a lot of information. In that kind of like, everyone's mad at no one at Yavin likes Luthen, and so it's Will. He's basically saying this place is here because of Luthen and whatever, blah blah blah, and then Craven just has Will not like arrested, but he's like told to like stay at his hut or whatever. Like you're not allowed to leave. Go back to the gallery, and Hertz goes back to the lady that was assigned to take over the damaged radio to try and get it working again. And she's like, "Well, any of the contacts we can't get to, like that's all burned, but the transmitter still works, blah blah blah. But like we can't do anything here, blah blah blah." And she's just talking about how, man, they knew how to really hack this thing. They hacked into a comms tower next door, and she's like, "This is really good work that they did." And then everyone else was like, "This is not the
Chill.
place." Yeah, like don't be happy about this. She's like, "Oh crap."
Because she was like smiling, and she's like, "They've been listening to us for years."
Because like her assistant was like shaking his head, like stop, 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 and then because like Hietz is right there, and so she's like, "Well, I can't do anything here. Like we would have to take it in and like hook it up and try and like work it that way." She's like, "Well, unless we get another transmission like directly to us or like directed like on the same frequency, like to light it up, we can't do anything." And of course, it starts going off because Dedra or Clea is sending him another message again. So,
Talk about timing.
Right. And so then Cassian and them, they arrive on Coruscant. Clea, when they arrive, Clea is also, does Cassian message back, or does he just try and listen again?
I think he listens because he's afraid to write back.
Okay. And so, because we see him take it out again, like when they're above Coruscant to see if there's any messages or whatever. But the ISB sees that they can track it, and they call a tactical team in to they're gonna go to where they think it's going from. So they get that ready. Cassian lands at the apartment building. The ISB is en route. They're able to shut down the comms in a small area, which is kind of cool. Like no one's comms in an X amount of block radius gets shut down. So that was pretty cool. And K2SO, he's left at the ship, just keeping the engine running. And so he's just like, this is so bored. And he just leans back in his chair, like, this is so stupid. I can do more than this type of thing. Cassian and Melshi to get to the level 27, and it's just trashed. There's no one living on this floor. It's been dirty. Nothing's working. No lights. Nothing. The ISB, they traced the call. A weird little Y-shaped little handheld device, and they got it. There's that apartment right there. Cassian gets to the apartment, and says it's him because no one's answering, and Clea opens the door, and he's like, "Where's Luthen?" And so we don't see her answer, but just look on her face of her being sad and crying and freaking out, in that moment, she was just best acting ever. And so the next time we see her, she's just going on conspiracy theory, Scarif and Kyber and Galen Urso, engineer Galen Urso, and all this going on this incoherent speech of all these terms. She seemed like she was crazy, but it's she's just trying to get the key words out so that he remembers them. And she's like, I don't even know where we're supposed to go next. And Casey's like, we can go to Yavin. Yavin? No one wants me there. Everyone there hates Luthen, hates me. I'm not safe there. And this is all happening as a technical team is going to them. And then this was stupid of me. I should have noticed this earlier, when they're doing this, but they're going down the hallway. And it's not the same hallway because it's nice and clean and the lights are on and stuff. I was like,
yeah.
Did you notice that or did you miss it?
I noticed that they're in because they said in the general area. They didn't know exactly.
He said it was that apartment, but I didn't notice that it was a different hallway because they made a point that it's a dirty, crappy hallway, no lights on, and then this one it's clean and lights are on, walls are clean, white. It's I should have noticed that. I didn't. They go to their room, opens up, and it's this old couple.
They're one floor off, essentially.
And it's a super nice apartment. The apartment above them is crap, but this one, the floor above them is all crap, but this whole floor is nice and nice, cozy apartment that these old people have. Why didn't is it really that floor is more expensive or something, and that's rich people take care of it, and then poor people upstairs don't or something? I don't know what they're trying to do, but K2 saw the landing of the Imperial ship, so he works his way in, and ISB is listening to this whole thing, but because they have the comms going through the ship, and did you guys call in a KX droid? No. And so then this guy's, hey, you're talking to K2, so he's walking across the bridge. Are you with us? And he gets closer. Nope. And this hits him. He falls to his death. And it's Coruscant, so he probably could have fell 2 2 miles straight down or something before he hit anything. So that guy's dead. And then we get an argument with Clea and Cassian, and because Cassian makes the thing like Luthen chose to stay, like he was too prideful to leave, and that made Clea upset, and says the whole galaxy should thank him, like thank the galaxy, like everyone's gonna benefit from his work, like he stayed for the galaxy and all this stuff. And as this is happening, the team is closing in. Technical team is closing in, and then the episode ends as they're just going down the hallway.
Yep.
So that is Who Else Knows? Episode 11. So do you think that when like the team goes to the wrong apartment with the old people, what do you think they did afterwards, after the troopers left?
They had to get some tea, bro.
Tea?
Yeah, they had to chill, relax a little bit.
And no better way to do that than with our sponsor today, Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So if you just got raided by Imperial Tactical Group and on like a wrong address type of thing, best way to calm down, order some coffee or tea. So take a listen to this commercial break.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code EMPIRERADIO, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right, well, we are at the final episode. Jedha, Kyber, Urso. Kind of, like I said at the beginning, what a lame title name.
They could have just named it Rogue One.
Yeah, but then that spoils the reveal in the next movie. Because it wasn't, we didn't see Rogue One. Because Rogue One is the team that leaves to go on the mission.
That's fair.
But we do see them in this episode, though.
Yes, we do.
Melshi is making them run laps in the woods.
That was pretty cool. It was sweet to see them. I don't know. I wish we would have got more of Jedha
in this episode. Yeah, that would have been kind of cool to see. Like
even if they showed like the people, not even in this episode, like maybe the last one or whenever they started working on Jedha, they would have showed the city and people looking up to the Death Star pulling up. That would have been cool.
Well, I think we should have saw his team get Bodhi, the pilot. Like, we don't see how that happens in the movie, and I feel like that was happening at the end of this.
True. Yeah, we should have got that.
Because I don't know. Again, I gotta watch it to see how that plays out. But like, when you rewatch that scene, did that Tivik guy, did he mention a pilot?
Mm-hmm.
So it already happened. So Saw Gerrera, when we get that one scene at the end
when he's talking to them, they probably already have the pilot.
Or even just at the end scene when he's just looking out the window.
Yeah,
I'm guessing they're already in pursuit of the pilot, or
I think they already have them.
Like they could have in that montage just like
Showed a guy
showed
in handcuffs.
his group like going to a landing spot in the middle of nowhere that he was told to go to or something. Because I don't remember how he gets to Jeddah, but like it could have been like them just grabbing him, putting a thing over his head, and bringing him in. Like that would have been a way better.
Yep, that would have been cool.
Thing of literally a 20-second scene that they could have done, but whatever, doesn't matter. But yeah, so this episode, there's just like a million different things, so it's kind of go through order. It was kind of hard to like make notes on different storylines, but Clea is just unhappy about going to Yavin, not wanting to do it. And K2SO, last episode he killed like the Imperial people back at the ship, and when he did that, because the comms were going through that ship, and so he smashes the head of the one guy in the device, and so at this point, the ISB, they can't get in contact with the team at all, and they're like they're dead, no one can get in, so it's like they're trying to like scramble to get a different other teams to go and intervene to figure out what's going on. Cassian destroys the radio that Clea used. The tactical team, they arrive at department, but Melshi, Cassian, and Clea, they're leaving, and right at the same time, Melshi walks out into the hallway, and immediately the guns are right on him with flashlights on him, so he can't see anything, and so they're like, don't move. Well, he moves. He jumps back in, which now we know he survives because he's in the movie. So it's like it should have been Clea that went out first. I felt like, because then it's like, oh, she could actually die right now if they accidentally shot, even though they were supposed to take her alive because there's more stakes there. But whatever. But that's happening. K2 gets into the building and he's just kind of like taking out the people that are like in the lobby. Picks them up, throws them, smashes them down. The tactical team they throw a stun grenade in and wreck the three of them.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
talk about stun. I feel like that could easily kill people.
Oh, that's definitely
stun them. I thought it was gonna just like shoot out like blue circles and stun people like every.
Well, I knew it was gonna be like a boom thing, but like that almost killed Clea. Like if she didn't get medical help, she probably would have died.
Yeah, it's her head. Like,
but it's also like
could have easily. I thought she died for a second. I'm like, well, there's that.
But like, it was weird because she was the only one that got like completely knocked out. So it's like weird that they're all right there.
Because Cassian got more hurt. Mochi was like already up and defending.
Yeah, he was the least hurt. Cassian, he was blinded though, which is weird because like there wasn't a flash. It was just
his head probably got rocked.
But it was flash, like it was like a flash grenade, and he's trying to adjust to the brightness, and he just like has his head down, shooting through the doorway to like so they don't come in, and so that's kind of funny. But they they're fighting their way through. They're shooting a couple troopers that try and get in, and at this point, the Hietz guy, he's like waiting in the back to like not be in the way. He's kind of like around the corner of the hallway behind. And so as this is happening, K2SO comes in down the hallway and takes out people, but then he grabs Hietz and like uses them as a body shield. I felt so bad for the guy. He's just like,
I did not feel bad.
Getting bad, like a rag doll just dead, his head bobbling around.
Like literally like a puppet, like
rag doll. It was
the
just
guy is like panicking, shooting K2 and just kept shooting that guy.
And then whatever, the troopers all get killed. And then K2 walks in. Hey, I made a path. The way out. We're good. We can go. And so they get out. And they just make their way back to Yavin. I thought it was weird that Melshi was the one carrying Clea. I thought, why wouldn't K2SO be the one? I understand like they need him to like fight.
They need him just in case something else.
But I'm like, both those guys just got wrecked by a stun grenade. Like K2SO would have been more capable of like.
Yeah, but if someone showed up, K2 can just grab him and throw him
but
across the year.
I don't know. He would just throw him over the shoulder and be fine. I don't know. I just thought it looked kind of weird because K2 was the most capable, but whatever.
K2's a beast, dude.
So we get back to Yavin, and we see this awesome video of Saw Gerrera arguing with Mon Mothma, and it's just basically, we know you're on Jedha. We know you're messing with Imperial people and messing with the Kyber mining thing, and you're stealing transports, and what you're doing has brought a Star Destroyer to Jedha. Like, this is even worse. Like, if you got to stop this. And Saw Gerrera is just basically like, you're just telling me to do this to like control me. Like, you're after me too, just as much as the Empire, and I don't trust you, and blah blah blah. And like, I don't know, just Saw Gerrera is now at his craziest, and crazy beard, crazy hair, full bodysuit like we see in Rogue One. And he's just basically, if only you could fight as well as you lie. I'm like, dang, dude, she's not lying, so I guess she can't fight well. But like, he's just a conspiracy theorist going crazy. And as this is, so then he rage quits. He just hangs up, and then a guy comes in, and Admiral Radis or General Radis or whatever the title is says that Cassian, the U-wing is back. They're not following protocol. Like, we don't know what to do, type of thing. Like, should we shoot him down? And I think Craven is there. He's like, is this Cassian? He's like, yeah, I think it's Cassian. It's probably him. So, and then Bail Organa is there, and he's upset at this. Oh, you guys just letting people come and go, like doing random missions like this, mad about it. And then Mon Mothma is like, this makes the Senate seem easy. It's funny that like a bunch of rebels. It's hard to. They're rebels. Like, it's kind of like that line.
Used to order,
right? But it's kind of like the. I don't even remember, was it in the movie or not? I think it might have just been one like the first trailer for Rogue One. But it's like, I'm a rebel. I rebel. Like, that's just like, yeah, you got a bunch of rebels that are gonna not follow orders easily and make things complicated. So, so they're just kind of radioing Cassian to like answer it, but they're not answering. And so then some X-Wings come in, escort them in, and because no protocol is being followed, and then it's like all hands on deck. All the troopers, like the rebel trooper soldiers, they just go out there with their weapons and like are aiming it at you because they don't know if it's a spy. They could be, Darth Vader. They don't know. It could just be showing up, and they need all hands on deck. And it's this Cassian and them, and it's like, hey, we're back, and they're surprised. And he's like, anyone else on board? And K2 just leans over, hey guys, hello. And then this tells like, hey, Clea needs to go to the med bay. Fine, go, whatever. And then Cassian is brought directly to the room of leaders. Not everyone is there. There's like Dodonna and another one they mentioned wasn't there. But we get familiar faces. Senator Palmo is the lady that we see, the black lady, and then we see her in Bad Batch. She's like going in the Senate.
Yep.
Whatever. And then the other guy with like the nice suit, like always complaining. I remember he was always complaining in the movie, and then he's just like complaining here, no hope type of thing. And Cassian just tells everything he heard. Luthen died. He's dead. His ISB plant got this information that the Empire is lying about the whole energy initiative, and like the senators are like, well, we were working with that. There's nothing problem with it. Like, they got duped too. But Cassian has no proof of any of this, and they just don't really believe him because there's no evidence. And so he's just kind of like arrested or whatever, house arrest type thing. And Mon Mothma, she's the most sympathetic because like the one thing that like got everyone at least somewhat on board about Luthen is like, The last time I spoke to him was when he had me rescue last year Mon Mothma from the Senate, and Bail goes, "Oh yeah, duly noted. I forgot about that. Like maybe we can trust Luthen. He got his Mon Mothma, so like whatever he gets, sent. But like before he's like permission to go visit the infirmary, and then Mon Mothma immediately says permission granted. Like didn't let Bail say no. So, but on his way to the infirmary, Craven is like, Tivik has been calling 3 times, and we don't know why. Like, do you trust him? Not really, but like this is kind of weird timing that he's sending these calls in. And so Cassian talks to Clea and just basically says, "I'm doing what I can to like say what they need to say, help you out, but clearly they're not listening to us right now, but sorry about that. I thought they were going to come and welcome you here, and now this is not good for you. Sorry about that." But she doesn't say anything. I don't think she said a word this whole time. No. She's awake. Then Mon Mothma goes to see Vel and says Luthen is dead, but I need you to spy on Cassian to get information. Like, I'm not going to tell you what he told me, but we need you to I need your evaluation of what he has to say. And so tell me what he says and then help me believe him, type of thing. Cassian tells Will that Luthen is dead. Will is sad. They hug it out. And then I think it was the comms guy I mentioned earlier. It goes to Craven and is like, Tivik is calling again, but he only wants to talk to Cassian. Like, oh, dang. Like, and so it's a Kafrene ring is what they call it. It's that, 2 like asteroids attached together from Rogue One. And so just painting the picture, paving the road to Rogue One. And everything is happening so fast. Now it's like everything is back and forth, boom, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. And so now it's Cassian talks to Vel, and they share a drink together, and they kind of like
reminisce,
do a toast to Luthen, but also to like Nemik and
all the fallen soldiers.
Eldani, Gorman, Ferrix, and then Marva. Kind of like all the common things that they've been on.
And so, his mom.
Yeah, Marva.
Yes.
And so, and Val just kind of asks him, like, is the story real? Like, should we believe you? And basically like, yeah, what do you want me to say? Like, we're here, this rebellion is here because of his work. Like, we got to trust Luthen. I believe him. Clea, she wakes up and starts taking off her whatever monitors, and as this is happening, Nemik's manifesto starts playing. Like, we just started like, oh dang. And so that was interesting. I was like, why are we listening to this? And then it transitions to Partagraz. And if you listen to it, like you listen to Clea listening to it, or it's being played over when Clea is seen, and then when it cuts to Partagraz, it changes the sound a little bit where which was interesting. And so he's just listening to it, and he has this look on his face of like horror, but also like worry and all that stuff. And it's like, it makes you think like he's sympathetic. We were talking about earlier, like he's sympathetic almost, but then it's also the worry of like, he's right. Like, this rebellion is getting too big. When that other guy comes in, he's like, it's a struggle. Like, this is a big thing we're trying to hold in and take care of. And, he says, all right, we're waiting for you downstairs. And he's like, Partagraz is like, just give me a moment to collect my thoughts. And the guy leaves, and he just stands there in front of the door with 2 stormtroopers there and just is waiting. And then you see him, Partagraz inside, sit down, pull out a pistol, blaster. And then you go back outside and you hear the gunshot. the ISB guy doesn't move at all, and then the troopers start to move, take one step, and he just tells them to stop. And so, I don't know. I felt bad. Everyone's a victim of the Empire. Things are
and he
collapsing.
knew he was going to do it too.
Yeah, he wasn't surprised.
Because he was just standing there, and then it stopped, and he was like,
yeah, so that was interesting. Clea goes out into the rain, and then Vel. So she's just kind of like, why is she like walking out in the rain? We don't really get an explanation. I don't know if she like wanted us like leave and just let the elements take her. Like she didn't want to live here.
Yeah,
she didn't...
like I don't that the whole time. So like you get this guy, and it's kind of like playing both. The sound is going through both of their scenes, and this guy ends up killing himself. So I thought she was gonna do that too.
I was thinking that too.
Like there was a part of me thinking like, oh, she's just gonna, and then that's not gonna help Andor's case. Like it's gonna be harder for him to convince people that this girl he just saved ended up killing herself.
Right, but like, do you think she was just trying to get lost in the woods and then let the elements take her, like get killed by an animal, or what?
I don't know.
I was like, I think that's what she was trying to. She was just want to leave the base and just let fate happen while she's out in the woods.
Or maybe she was looking for Andor.
No,
because at the same time she left Andor to go back to her place.
I don't think she was looking for Andor. Because like, why would she? Because I don't know. She could just ask, "Hey, I need to talk to Cassian," and he would have came. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah,
and she wouldn't know where he's living either. I don't think she's never been there. But she probably heard the stories from the first arc when he was taken by those renegade rebels. Mm-hmm. Probably heard a story of a giant animal eating those two guys, like when they're playing space paper rock scissors.
Stupid.
But I don't know. We don't really get an answer. But then it goes to Val talking to Cassian still, and they start talking about Bix, and Val's like, "You need to reconnect with Bix. Like, it's been a year. You need to go check. Like, but is she safe? Like, yeah, she's safe for now. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, she's safe. Well, she won't be safe if I connect with her.
Yeah, and she's like, I will eventually when the time is right. And Val is just like, now don't wait too long though. Like, oh no, because he dies like the next day. But whatever. Then Clea, and so Val leaves, and then Val sees Clea walking through it and like puts a jacket on her and like, we gotta get out of the ring. Let's go inside. It's me, Val. Like she didn't recognize her at first or whatever. They get inside, and Val was talking to her, sorry about Luthen, blah blah blah, and she was like, it had to be done. Like she wanted to like just make it business as usual. It had to be done for the greater good. And Val was seeing through that, and just says like, this place is a safe place. I have friends everywhere. You have friends here. Like, you can rest, you can recover, you can start a new life here. Like, and Clea, she's a big asset. Like, I was running a rebellion. I would want her on my team right away.
She's in Hoth, and Leia tells her to leave because she's still working on the codes and she needs to evacuate. I'm telling you. That girl is working on some radio frequency at some point.
Maybe. Who knows?
She was obsessed with that radio. She left parties early to go check it. She was obsessed with that thing.
Right. And then K2SO and Melshi, they get back and like, hey, we've been released. We're free to go. We're back. But they're like, well, Draven is out there to go talk, and Cassian goes out and is basically Draven's like, Tivik, he's been calling us nonstop. He's only wants to talk to you. This is happening. The stuff on Jedda's happening. Stuff with Luthen's happening. Like this is like either this is just a trap, and the ISB is planning doing all these things to like trap us somehow to pull us out of hiding, or this is real. And he's like, "Do you trust Tivik?" And he's like, "I try to," type of thing, because when we see him, he's a crazy guy, so it's hard to trust. Then it goes to Bail sitting in the round table by himself, and then Draven and Mon Mothma come in and are like, "Hey, just hear us out, okay? Just calm down. Let's talk. Let's give a pitch. We don't see the pitch, but whatever." And then we have the dream of Cassian's dreaming of his sister, and when I watched the scene of the flashback of his sister, I'm like, dude, that looks a lot like child Clea, but it's not Clea. Like, one, it's a different actress. Like, they could have like used the same actress between the times. Like, maybe, I don't know, because the girl was probably like 6 or 7, and so they, I don't know, like, this is 10 years later, like in our world, so it might not have worked, but I was like, dang, that's the same hairstyle, curly, wavy hair, long. But then it doesn't make sense for it to be his sister. It would have been cool if they could have made that work somehow, and they never knew it, and they just were working together all these years.
That would have been so cool.
But I think if they didn't have that opening scene in season 1 where his sister was working at that establishment,
yeah,
if that scene wasn't in there, they could have definitely made that a thing.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
it just sucks that we never gonna get his sister or closure on that.
Yeah, like,
I think the closure is the Empire killed her, like,
or she was just still on that planet that he escaped from. Like, he only left the planet because he was basically kidnapped by Marva and I forget the dad's name, but like, all those kids are still left on that planet. Like, all the older kids were killed, right?
Yeah.
Or was it just a few of them were killed and then they
I think all
retreated?
the older ones were.
Because I remember like that main leader lady girl was killed at first, and then some of them other ones were killed. But I can't remember if they all were killed. But either way, those kids the young ones were still back at the camp. We don't know what happened to them. The planet was abandoned by the Empire or whatever it was. So it's like, I don't think anyone was going back to get them anyway. So a lot of those kids are probably still there, but who knows? So then K2SO pokes Cassian. Wake up! And he's like scared, wakes up like all shocked. Waking up humans is so weird. Like, it's just weird. And I'm like, okay. Supposed to be like a droid waking up. I don't know. And he's basically like, the guy you don't like is here. Like, who's that? And it's Bail Organa. And he's basically, mission is a go. You get to go. I'm allowing this.
I love that K2 just called him out though on it though.
Oh, right in front of him. The guy you don't like is here, right? Stand right next to him. And Cassian's like, well, why are you doing this? He's like, even if this is a trap, like, if I'm going to get killed by the Empire, I'm going to go out swinging. So either way, we got to do this because they're coming for us. So he says, you can go. And he says, may the Force be with you, to him. And Cassian kind of gives him a look like, yeah, the Force thing.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot about that thing. Which is so weird because he's been here for 2 years and the Ghost crew has been there for most of that time. Like, Kanan and Ezra were there. It's like, and it was the same thing with like Lost Stars. Thane is in the rebellion. And like Luke Skywalker is there the whole time, but he doesn't even believe in the Force. Like, I don't believe that is Luke is a Jedi, blah, blah, blah. Like, you would think that they would see these Jedi and do things and like realize that they're real. This is kind of
Force magic.
A weird thing, but whatever. So he gets dressed in
Well,
the
Han
outfit.
doesn't even believe it for.
Well, that's just because he never experienced a Jedi going into A New Hope. Like, but like, I'm saying the people on Yavin are living with Jedi.
No, but even because doesn't Han say in episode 6, he's like, he's a Jedi Master now? Like, what makes him think he could do that? Like,
Huh?
a Jedi Knight. Remember when he got out of Carbonite, Chewie was telling him that Luke is a Jedi Knight and he's here to save you, and he's like, he's a Jedi Knight? Who told him he could be that? Like,
Well, yeah, but he still believes in the Force because he's seen it happen. Like,
I feel like
episode 4, he doesn't believe, but
yeah,
by episode 5, he believes in it and all
yeah,
that stuff. But like, if you're living with Jedi on Yavin, like Kanan and Ezra, for Kanan for a little bit, and then Ezra for a little bit longer,
yeah. But
like,
they're probably like Andor is probably in his hut.
yeah, but he was still there eating with the people. Like, people ate at the same tables. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, and Cassian was still high up ranking compared to a lot of people there, and he would have
Really high up.
known these people. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It's just kind of,
The same reason why we didn't see them.
yeah. I was so mad about that. You would think that we see the ghost in Rogue One. You'd think that we would see the ghost
Like leave.
like on the tarmac. Maybe I didn't see it, but like,
I didn't see.
or at least Chopper go by in the background. Like, come on,
Yeah.
like, just let Chopper go by. Like, is it really that expensive to hire? I know you couldn't get Bail Organa, but you can at least get Chopper. Like,
Well, or even like have Zeb walk around in the background.
I guess they had too much aliens in their budget for the hospital scene with the old ET lady, the guy with the big tail hanging out.
I mean, we get R2 and C3PO in Rogue One walking around in the background.
That was one Scarif. Why would anyone tell? Like, that was literally 10 seconds. But
we could have got a Chopper for 10. That's all I'm saying.
Right. So Cassian, he gets dressed in his outfit that he has in Rogue One. He's walking through the woods, and you see Melshi running some troopers, and all those troopers are the ones who became Rogue One when they went on the mission.
That cool guy with his mouth.
The one that has like 50 letters in his name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was there. He's the only one I recognized. But I'm sure most of those actors in that group were the same ones that we see in the movie. We could have put them side by side. But then we see Will and Drina that are having breakfast. Oh, nice, cute, whatever. Then we get this weird scene that's going to be debated for years to come. We see Perrin, Mon Mothma's husband, with the wife of Skulden. So the question is, what happened to Skulden? I feel like Luthen had him taken out also. Or the ISB, after Mon Mothma escaped, the Empire, they went more directly into Mon Mothma's paperwork and was able to finally find the
who was funding
money.
What? Yeah.
And then he was taken. But either way, Perrin, his new girlfriend, is Skulden's wife, and they're drinking themselves to sleep, basically, in a cab ride or car ride or whatever. So it's just kind of weird. That's just a weird scene to put in.
Yeah.
They could have just had Perrin drinking while being escorted somewhere. Driving
there's like a meaning behind that.
But like, why? Like, why it didn't add anything? Like,
because it's showing you that
Skulden is.
There's no more love there.
Well, I don't think there's love there anyway.
No, but like before, like, you know, that wedding speech when he is talking about being in love and stuff like that. Like, once Mon left, that love was gone, and he stayed. He was not.
I don't know. It could have been Perrin eating dinner with Lita and her husband. Like, that would have been fine. Like, them just eating there by themselves at a fancy table. Like, I don't know. It was just weird seeing those two together in that car. And then we see Dedra on Narkina 5. I felt so bad for her. I don't know. Like,
I did not feel bad at all.
Good.
Well, yeah, but like a little bit.
It's so weird because last arc, when she's experiencing domestic violence from Cyril Karn, we feel bad for her. But like, she's a space Nazi. Like, are we supposed to feel bad for her?
I felt bad for her just because Cyril's just stupid too.
Why is he's stupid for what?
For choking a woman. I was like,
but it would have been okay for him to shoot her though. That's better.
Yeah, somehow I don't know.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't make sense. So like, I don't know. Like I said in this episode and a million times before, everyone is a victim of the Empire, and it shows us with Dedra. So she's in her cell. The lights turn off. She's on her knees, and she just starts crying. And it's like, dang. I just wonder, like, now that the Death Star is complete, like, what are they building? Is it Death Star 2 now? Like, Palpatine knew that, oh, we got to make a second one just to be safe. Like, is that already in the works? I don't know. We'll never know. Clea, she's awake in the morning, and she walks out and sees, like, people just, like, soldiers, like, carrying equipment and stuff, and she kind of just has this moment. It seems like, oh, this is the rebellion. They're putting in work. Like, this is a good thing. I'm happy I'm here type of thing. Cassian walks through the tarmac to his ship, and he sees the Force healer, and they make eye contact, and they just acknowledge each other. You know, she sees hope in him, and so she probably felt like...
And he's going to be a messenger, and he was about to do it.
Yep. And so she probably she probably sensed something in that moment. And then K2, Esso, and Cassian, they leave Yavin. And then the final scene, we go to Mina Rao. B2, he's strolling around, having fun, playing with another droid. And it's like, I'm just surprised that like this planet is doing fine after what happened a few years prior. You'd think that after what happened, the Empire would be more involved, but I guess they're not being messed with anymore because Cassian was gone. So it's like, well, there's no one else here. There's just Cassian.
Yep.
And we see a woman walking into the grain fields, and she's holding a baby, implying that this is Cassian's kid. So that probably the last night they were together was probably when it was conceived. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that really bugged me about this scene, Cassian and Bix have brown skin, and that baby was the whitest baby I've ever seen in my entire life. Did you notice that?
But kids are always kind of whiter.
Yeah, but like
when they're younger.
Two Hispanic actors, like Hispanic people don't have a white baby like pop out. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know.
I mean, there's that boxer who's like full on Mexican, who is a redhead and is paler than me.
Yeah, but he's probably mixed with something. If you have red hair, you probably have some.
I don't know.
Wait, but I'm saying
there's long people that have brown hair, like really brown, almost blonde.
Well, yeah, but I'm not talking about haircut. I'm talking about this kid was a white baby. Yeah, it was just distracting. And like it was like the kid was like kicking the wheat. Like this was like, wasn't supposed to do that, but they had to put in like the kid would do that. We'll just keep it in. And Bix was just so happy. Like she's like, I'm living my best life. Cassian's gonna, come by one of these days.
Look, you're Etsy. I'm telling you, it all.
Well, I guess your Etsy wins the argument on that one. I don't know.
I mean, my kid's half Asian. He is whiter than I am.
Well, yeah, but both you and Steph are.
And he's not. And Cassian's not that dark either.
But he's still Mexican, though. He's darker than me. He's darker than
his
you.
accent, but like, he's
well,
not
his accent
that dark.
doesn't matter.
No, I'm saying, I feel like he doesn't look that dark. And I don't know, Jeremiah, your family gets dark. You get pretty dark when you tan.
I get dark when I'm in the sun.
Yeah.
But that you're saying that kid wasn't out in this field, like she's out in the field?
She was covered up. She's very protective of the UVs.
I don't know. I can see the skin. She's out there. I don't know. Maybe it's just that sun. There's no UV, or maybe it's just the sun doesn't tan on that planet. It's just space.
Yeah.
Space works different there. I don't know. But
It's
Yaretsi, she made her comment that she's Mexican and she's white. So I guess that's puts an end to my comments on that. But that is Andor. That's it.
And
it's done.
Cassian has a kid out there.
Yep. Do you think we're ever going to see that kid again?
We probably have. We just didn't know it was his kid. I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Like, what does that add? It adds nothing to the story. It just makes it more sad.
At all. Doesn't add anything. Cassian still dies on a beach with another girl in 3 days from now or whatever it is. Like, doesn't add anything. Except, yeah. Well, it makes... But Bix is happy because she...
But I wonder how... Because Val knows where Bix is.
Val knows that she has a kid.
Probably. So it's like...
This is why she was hinting.
Do you think that Val is going to tell Bix in the coming days?
Once that happens, yeah.
So... I'm sorry for Bix. Like, she... Terrible life for the last few years, and then it gets better, and she's happy now. Finally, she's happy.
But she still knew that her and Cassian would never be together, because I feel like she could have reached out to Cassian, too.
Well, yeah, but she was waiting for the rebellion to win.
Yeah.
You don't believe that? You think she lied?
I think once she had her kid, she was probably like... If he comes, he comes. I don't know. Like, the risk of him dying is a lot higher than her seeing him again. So she probably knew that the possibility of him not coming is fine. And she was like, she seemed happy in that moment.
Yeah, but she never gave up on him like that. Like, she fully believed that he was going to survive and they were going to be together. That was the whole point of her message that she recorded. Yeah. She never lost hope in that. Like...
But I feel like she's still happy because she has a piece of him.
Yeah, but in a couple of days when Val calls her, but hey, Cassian's dead, like, then now she's going to be sad for the rest of her life. So it's like, it's portraying she has a happy ending, but she doesn't have a happy ending because Cassian dies.
Oh, Val never lets her know. Also, Val survives and we never see her again, though.
Well... That's fine. She's somewhere doing stuff for the rebellion during the original trilogy. So,
don't worry. Andor and Val or Bix's kid is force sensitive and probably a Jedi with Luke somewhere.
I don't know. He'd be about 34 years old when the sequel trilogy comes around, so it's like, I don't know. Or maybe then when Luke is training younglings, like he would have been 4 or 5 years old when Luke started doing that, so...
That's Poe's dad.
Or, sorry, it would have been... Because Grogu was his first student, so that would have been 9 years... Mm-hmm. So the kid would have been 9 years when Luke started the academy. So we don't know if could be Ryan Gosling from the Starfighter movie. That's what Caleb says. Honestly, the ages would line up because it's 5 years after the original trilogy. So that's 35 plus 4, 39. So like early 40s. How old is Ryan Gosling around that? He's probably in his early 40s.
Honestly, that could be what they're doing.
Well, and it makes sense. 2 Mexican people having a white kid, like Ryan Gosling.
The baby
Caleb
is
said
white
it
enough.
That would be kind of fun, cool if it was, but also people would be mad for whitewashing
Oh
Mexican
yeah.
baby. So that Disney is smarter than that. But if he's like a pilot and he has like pilot friends that are also like super good, it'd be cool if Cassian Jr. was right there. I wouldn't be upset about that.
Me either.
Old Bix, put some gray hair on her and some makeup and make her look
They'll
like an old
probably just
lady.
recast her. De-age. No, what's the opposite of de-aging?
Age her.
Age her.
Have they ever done that in movies, like age up with like AI, like with deep faking type stuff?
I don't know about
They de-age, but like I wonder if they ever like try and, because they had, remember that like 5 years ago they had that like filter that people would like what you look like when you're 80
Oh
or
yeah, I have
whatever.
a picture of myself.
I think I've seen. I don't remember, but I remember everyone was doing that except for me.
You probably saw.
Well, actually, there is a picture of me. I think my nephew took a picture of me.
Yeah, I think you told me that.
And did that on me, but whatever. But yeah, so that's the season. I was disappointed that we didn't get a post-credit scene of some sort. It could have been just something fun, but
honestly, I didn't even look.
You didn't look, dude. Every episode, I always look just to make sure, because we did get a post-credit scene in season 1 finale, but that was it for that. But that's it. Any final? So I guess we gotta rank, give a score out of 10 for season 2.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Even with a disappointing ending, you're still giving it a 10 out of 10.
I just think it feels a little bit more disappointing because the last arc was so good and so intense. But I still liked it, and I still like when you watch Rogue One compared to it, it's really good. It helps it a lot.
Would you say that you like season 2 better than season 1?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think so.
I think I like season 2 better than season 1, but I feel like the episodes that in season 2 that were slow or did less, there was more of those in season 2 than there was in season 1.
Yeah, there was.
Season 1 was consistently high level, but like the highs in season 2 were higher than the highs in season 1.
Yeah, because I think season 1 they could do a lot and develop a story and do what they wanted to do because it was so far away. In season 2, they had to start actually like tying in the movie and the lore a little bit more, so they had to be more. But then those payoffs felt more. I don't know. They felt more strong.
Right.
Than, like, there's moments in season 1, like when they all escape the jail and then homeboy can't swim. At that moment in season 1 was crazy. Like, I still think about that all the time. But then like that last episode, when episode 8, when they're like stuck on that and they're all getting gunned down, like that whole thing was so intense, dude. It was so good.
Right.
So like I said, I like when you watch Rogue One right after, it does flow so well.
Right.
So I was pleased by that result too.
Right.
So yeah. I liked it.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
Highly recommend it. So if you're listening and you haven't watched it, we just spoiled everything for you. Go watch it.
Still watch it though, because we just skimmed over it.
But I feel like the thing is though, as great as this was, I almost feel like it's going to make people more critical of future content that comes out.
As they should be.
They're going to be like, well, why isn't it as good as this? Like, I don't know, dude. I just, because what's the next because there's no live action series, right?
Ahsoka.
Oh, sorry, Ahsoka. Like that one's getting talked up a lot, and I think Dave Filoni is saying like it's supposed to be like one of the best live action things. Like they're putting a lot of care into it.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's going to be over a year away before we get that. So there's no live action series. So maybe people will forget about how great Andor was when the next
I mean, people
action
forgot
comes
about
out.
season 1 and by the time this one came out. So.
No, I no one forgot about it. I think because I feel like other shows were compared to Andor season 1 after they came out, which would have been Ahsoka, Acolyte. Was Kenobi was before?
Rogue One?
No, Kenobi was before Andor, right? Because Kenobi was same year, but that was like May and June, and then it was September was when Andor came out in 2022. I think.
I'm not sure.
I think that's what it was because it was the same year that like Andrew left. He left in 2022, and that was 2 live action series, I think, or 3. It was Boba Fett was at the first of the year, then Kenobi, and then Andor. But I don't know.
They should hold live action to the highest standard, which would have been this show. So I'm not mad at people getting mad at shows that aren't going to feel the same.
So that's that.
Because the thing about Andor and why it's so good is like they took time, they built sets. It took a while. Like if you think about it, they were a lot in the same areas, but then it still felt refreshing. Like that apartment changed like 5 times.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's went through so much development. So like they used a lot of the same sets in this season, but then it felt refreshing every time. So I don't know.
But it's also we got to also say it was the Gilroy brothers that did this series too. So it's like their own unique style of writing and storytelling that not every writer and team is going to have. So it's like the Gilroys tell different stories than the way Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau do.
Though.
And then that was its own style too because it had its own agenda and what they wanted to do. So it's like if you just focus on a Star Wars story first, and I think that's your best option. But it's like people have their own styles, so you're going to get different things. And so,
like, The Mandalorian feels different, but it feels like Star Wars.
right.
Acolyte was just confusing.
Yeah.
It felt like Star Wars because we got one character in it at the end of this show. In the beginning of the episode.
We got Kiadi Mundi in it.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't know. I think this will be definitely a learning thing for Disney. Like people are praising this show. Like people are saying it's the best thing ever.
Well, besides one guy.
And so it's like this is their opportunity to course correct. And you know, we know that Kathleen Kennedy is leaving sometime in the near future. Rumors are it could be this summer, but it could be next year sometime. But like when they're transitioning leadership, you know, it's the next leader should be aware of what works and what doesn't work in the past 12
and everyone
13
knows
years,
that Rogue One is the best Disney movie that they've made.
Right. So
you can argue that with me to the grave.
We just gotta have faith that Disney will learn from Andor and do what's best moving forward. But that's it.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Andor before we move on?
No.
All right. Well, let's transition over to everyone's favorite time of every episode, voicemail time.
It's voicemail time.
All right. Well, we have 4 voicemails tonight. First 3 are from our good friend Yaretsi, and she has some special guests joining. So let's take a listen to number 1.
Hey Empire Radio, it's Yaretsi, and today I have a guest with me. What's your name?
Yareni.
And what's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Phantom Menace.
Why is it your favorite Star Wars movie?
Little Anakin and Jar Jar.
And who's your favorite Star Wars character?
Rex.
Ooh.
Yep, that was my little sister. Anyway, bye.
All right, so that was Yareni. So Yaretzi's little sister's name Yareni. So that's pretty cool that you have similar sounding names. Awesome, cool. More fans, get them young so they can be into Star Wars young and follow us too. So
it's just like what the Empire did. Brainwash them young.
Yep, recruit them while they're young.
Or the Jedi.
Favorite movie: Phantom Menace. Why? Little Annie and Jar Jar Binks.
Solid answers.
And then favorite character is Rex. Solid answer. So, awesome. Well, next up from Yaretsi, another special guest. So let's take a listen.
Hey Empire Radio, it's Yaretsi again, and I have another guest, and we just finished watching The Great Watermelon Debate, and he's got some words.
Lord. Hello, Empire Radio. I think personally that cantaloupe is better than watermelon whenever it is like ripe and sweet and juicy, because it's just better.
It's just better? That's what you're going to say?
Yeah,
okay.
It's just better.
Yeah, that was It's Just Better. Hashtag It's Just Better by my little brother, Daniel.
All right, thank you. Daniel is my new favorite person in the world right now. Another point for Team Cantaloupe.
Poor kid.
So you got
get out there.
Yaretsi, Yareni, and then Daniel. So I don't know I guess there's no male form of that. I don't know. It was kind of funny. I was like, what's his name? What's his name? Oh, okay. But awesome. And I just had a cantaloupe last week or whatever. And that's like every time it's like, you got to cut it properly. If you don't cut it properly and prepare it properly, you're not going to have any flavor. If you scrape too much of the center out when you take the seeds out, you take away the sweetest part. But if you just do it really lightly, leave the little bit of the gooey part on there, super sweet. And so if you don't have that on there, then there's not a lot of flavor. So it's all about how you prepare it. But Yaretsi says that it was actually my little sister that got me into Star Wars. How old is your sister? Like, she sounds like she's like
Miles' age.
7 or something. Like, how does she get into Star Wars at a young age and then convince you to like it? So that's an interesting. Maybe that's a voicemail for.
She's 5.
5? That makes it even worse.
That's what I'm saying. She sounded like Miles.
Send in a voicemail next week, Yaretsi, explaining how your sister got you into Star Wars. That'd be a cool story.
Or 2 weeks.
2 weeks because we're off next week, but we'd love to hear that. Awesome, Daniel. Thank you for supporting Team Cantaloupe. This is great. Next up, final voicemail from Yaretsi. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Empire Radio, it's Yaretsi. Back with, I think, the third voicemail. But I did want to point out another historical fact that I saw. The little radio that they're using to beep with, it just reminded me a lot of Morse code, and I know a lot of people probably picked that up already. I just wanted to point it out. And also, these last 3 episodes, like, just pop off Clea. She's got to be one of my top female characters, though, because that was absolutely amazing. Anyway, bye.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Yaretsi. Did you see the email she sent us? She wrote an essay on Andor, and because like when Grace and I were on last, like we told her to write an essay on the history parallels, and she actually wrote like a 2-page paper and sent it to us. Dang. And then I forwarded it to Grace. But pretty cool. Keep up the good work, being an academic and doing all that history stuff, the history buff stuff is cool. So maybe someday you could write your PhD on parallelism in Star Wars with the real world. That'd be a cool PhD like dissertation.
Oh yeah.
Thing. Star Wars and history. That'd be a lot of fun. So that's your calling in life, Yaretsi. Do that because I want you to. But yes, thank you, Yaretsi, for those 3 voicemails, and thank you to Yareni and Daniel for joining in. But last up, we have the final voicemail from the Coup d'etat-verse, and Garrett is back. So let's just jump into it.
Hey, Empire Radio, it's Garrett. I told Empress Palpatine that the First Order is done, and her new weapon is being destroyed as I speak. She then replied with, "It's treason then," and ignited her hinged double lightsaber. She then strikes towards me while unhinging her sabers, which almost caught me off guard, but I had seen her do this move before, so I was able to ignite my saber and block both rapid hits from either side. She then follows up with a strong overhead attack, which I narrowly deflect to throw her off balance. I use this opportunity to slice towards her now exposed midsection, but Empress Palpatine uses her momentum to do a flip forward and land on her back. This causes me to miss her completely. I then loop my blade around to slice down on her, but she brings her lightsaber up to meet mine, and we lock blades. She tells me there's no escape. Even if I defeat her, there's no chance I get out alive. I then tell her who said I was planning on getting out alive. A look of fear spread across Empress Palpatine's face as she force pushes me away. Knowing I have the upper hand, I now begin my advance with a series of rapid and aggressive attacks. Empress Palpatine is now on the defensive, something she's definitely not used to, and is being pushed back towards the chamber wall. I slice through the middle of her lightsaber hinge and with 2 powerful strikes, knock both of them out of her hands. I then raise my saber to deliver the final blow as I hear a lightsaber ignite next to mine and block my blade. I look to my side, and I'm shocked to see who it was. Who do you think it could be?
Luke.
No, it's Kylo Ren, baby.
Oh.
Because remember, he was like flirting with the dark side
yeah.
a little bit, it seemed like, or getting turned a little bit. So I think Kylo is turning, but it could be someone else. Maybe Boss Nass is back or something. I don't know. The Grand Gungan Army, they were supposed to come help or something, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be anybody, but my guess it's Ben Solo, and he wants to become a Kylo Ren type person, a disciple, a Padawan of Empress Palpatine. So who knows? But pretty gutsy of you to go after her fighting and stuff. But you defeated her in a sense.
Yeah.
So if you strike her down, does that mean you become the new? Is she a Sith? I don't know. Is she just the dark side user? I don't know. Did we ever get that information? I don't know. But
I think she was. I think he said that she was. She's an empress.
Right. But the plot thickens again. Again, is the story ever going to end? I don't know.
Answer, no.
Because I want to like go back and like try and find like the first voicemail that he had. Because I have them all saved, like all the voicemails we've ever had. So it's like I'll have to do a search of a Garrett and then start from the earliest one and wait and play him until I get the first pod racing. Unless was that how his first one was? Was he was a pod racer, or did he just start that up
because he
later?
was like working on his car or something.
I don't remember. It's been like
we were asking, what's that noise in the garage? And then he just started this story.
Interesting. But that's that. No more voicemails. We're all done. I was really hoping we were going to get more answers or responses to this show, but I think people are still watching it, so.
Yeah, we'll
probably have some in 2 weeks, like we just mentioned a few minutes ago. We are off next week because you guys are all spoiled and been getting 2 episodes a week for the past 4 weeks. So,
and I'm not here.
Also, Drew is out of the country too. So, after he's back, so on the 28th, we're gonna start doing Tales of the Underworld. So we'll do Ventress first, and then we'll do Cad Bane. And then I forget, we got the schedule. Let me click. And who was it that sent us that voicemail? Nasty Nate, I think it was, had the idea for top 5 minor changes in Star Wars that we could do. So I got that on the list, Nasty Nate. We're doing that June 11th. June 18th, we have the Bounty Hunter comics with Grace. So we'll be covering the first 11 issues of the Bounty Hunter comic series, so that's exciting. Then we have an Imperial interview with Sierra from Star Wars Old Republic Radio, sister of Isabella, who we had on a couple months ago. So I'm excited for that. And then we don't have most of July planned, but then July 23rd, we have the book review for Trial of the Jedi, which is the final High Republic book. Grace will be there for that. And so we still need some ideas on what we want to do in the rest of July, but then August. And then September, we have Rebuild the Galaxy, Season 2.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for that.
And then we have Visions Volume 3 in October, and then who knows what we have after that. So
stay tuned, buckle up.
We'll probably throw some more books in there to fill stuff in. So, but we don't have a lot planned out for like after that, all that stuff, because there's no shows until who knows when. So
yeah,
but we'll be here no matter what. Oh, do you want me to reveal a little secret? So 2 days ago was Lucy's birthday. And so my gift to her was I officially asked her to help me write Season 3 of Bad Batch fan fiction. So I told her that,
she get back to you?
Yeah. So like, she's like, yeah, I can help you. But like, she's super busy in the summer and like, it takes time to write these things and collab. So I told her maybe sometime later this fall. So we'll have that sometime in the near future, but it'd be fun to work on that story with her because I don't know what I'm doing anymore. So thanks to Lucy. If it wasn't for her, Season 3 would never come to be. So
I'm excited now.
Yep.
Also, Lucy sending voicemails.
Bro, she's busy. It's the end
we
of the
know you're
school year.
lurking. We know you're lurking.
Yep. But anyway, that's all we got. So let's go over some social media and get out of here. So this is our 317th episode or something like that. So if you're new to us, you have a lot of content to get caught up on. But
yes,
if you like what we do and you want to get connected with us more, go in the description, click the links.co/Empire Radio, link spelled with 2 I's. Click that, and you can get connected with everything Empire Radio. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch for live streams. Like we've been talking with the chat tonight, getting fact checked and getting some thoughts and stuff from people just as we're recording to help us out. So if you want to do that, follow us on Twitch. Join the Discord. We got a great community of people you can talk to about Star Wars and other random stuff. Love to hear from you there. Build some relationship, build some community. Send in a voicemail yourself if you want, no matter anything Star Wars or anything non-Star Wars related, as long as it's family friendly, we will play that and discuss it on air. Also, we have a fan email. If you need to email us anything, go right ahead. I check it. Drew checks it, and we'll get back to you. Anything else, Drew?
Oh, just get connected to all the platforms, and if you go subscribe on YouTube too, because we're pretty close to hitting a next marker. So go over there if you haven't.
Yeah. And so YouTube is a lot of fun. I put a lot of work to get those videos up. So go check us out on YouTube and follow us there and help the algorithm. We got plenty of people on Spotify and iTunes and stuff, but YouTube, we could always do better. So let's go over there and follow us, get some numbers on there, help us get monetized so we can make tens of dollars a year. It'll be a lot of fun.
Literally $10.
But yeah, well, you've been listening to the last ever Andor-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.